Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are joined live once again here with Anna Monera. Excited to have her back to talk more about the work she does, how she's helping you, and hello, happy Halloween. Higher Heart Healing. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Great to have you back here today. And for those new time listeners, I would love to just get a little bit of your background. Tell us what you do, and then we'll get to today's topic.
Sure. Yeah. So I am the business owner of Higher Heart Healing, and I have a private energy healing practice, and I'm a spiritual coach. And I do private sessions, and I'm also holding a spiritual mentorship group for women that's starting off in December that I'm very excited about as well.
Perfect. Well, we're excited to have you here at Higher Heart Healing. How can we contact you?
Yeah, so my website is www.higherhearthealing.co, and my phone number is 520-333-6237. And I'm on all the major social media platforms at Higher Heart Healing.
All right. I know we're going to talk today a little about our relationship with our own lives, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that it would be kind of just a, as I kind of tap in and meditate as part of my spiritual practice every morning. Of course, on my map of the day, I have this beautiful opportunity to Zoom with you and have the podcast. So I was channeling in, Spirit, what does the audience really need to hear today? So our relationship with our lives kind of came up. And so what I was thinking about is how I have walked in that place of cultivating and really being conscious and aware of the relationship that I had in my own life as I started to live more on purpose after having my first Kundalini awakening, which is really about, reactivating the chakra system and stepping into the full expansion of who we are as energy. And so what that kind of looked like is a few bullet points. The first thing is we really need to spend time thinking about our lives. Taking inventory is how I really like to start off with my private clients. So how do we assess so we can kind of platform off of discovery first? And so we can really create and craft and build and be purposeful and aware of what isn't working in our lives and what is working in our lives. The way that I have worked with all of the wounds and traumas of my own past is in my imagination, I've created avatars for all of them. And so it doesn't need to be an actual person. It can be, like I said, a wound or a trauma or an event, even a thing, a place. And what I do is I actually create an avatar in my mind and I start to communicate with it like that. And in that way, I'm able to really alchemize and transform that wound. So I bring it into the light and then heal it with love and making it aware. And it just really takes on its own healing process. So I do that with my life and I act as though it's my very best friend and it's with me all the time. And our life really is here to support us and we are here to be in joy always. It's really what we're meant for. So spending time thinking about that. And then you can really figure out again, uncovering what are the areas that aren't working. Where am I out of balance? What feels kind of really jacked up? What am I not doing? Where am I absent in joy? Where am I not abundant? And then we can start to create a dream life. What would the schematics look like if we could actually just really go for it? Even I will admit that I still have a hard time really just stretching myself and challenging myself, but I'm aware of it. So that means I can go a little bit further with it.
Well, I appreciate you're bringing this up because it's something, I think about too, and I'm sure some of our listeners can relate to and understand because, yeah, it's like ourself, our purpose. What are we doing here? There's so much to this. And makes me be happy. I know you've had your own fair share of pain and struggles. We all have, but why? What's the reason behind it? It's like
we just run programs and we just operate unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, you're in your mid 40s and you're like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And it's a really great
Exactly.
opportunity to sit and just be like, just assess and just say, I have so many years left. I'm still in this game. What do I want to really get out of this? And so when you start to ask those questions and you really take the time, this is about, coaching. And I looked at all the thousands of podcasts that you've done personally with all these different coaches. And I was thinking, God, there's so many more coaches out there, right? Just
Yeah.
on the website and, for PBN. And I'm thinking, how do you even go about selecting the right person for you, right? How do you know?
Mhm.
But everybody really does need somebody to advocate and to give guidance and navigate. But if you don't really want to do that work, you're not going to do it. And I think that what people get overwhelmed by is thinking that it's like a daunting thing and
Task.
it's
Yeah.
going to consume them. If you just slow trickle it and you just take little mindful changes and tweaks, that's really how Spirit says you implement long standing change that actually lasts for the rest of your life. And that's why I say with spirituality and the way that I work with change in my life is I look at it as a redirection that I give myself a lot of grace with. And living with grace is a whole different way of operating. That's
Mhm.
surrendering, trusting to the process,
Um,
practicing patience, temperance, balance. And that is not the easy stuff. That's really challenging for people. But if you really start to just kind of pull your reins in, pull your power back and say, I can do this, working with our positive mindset, it really does help. You can actually get through those tougher times. And eventually, divine timing will take over and you'll get something and you'll see progress, you'll feel change, you'll see it. And so, designing the dream life and then start to really love your life. And I think when people feel totally numb, which is what I have found with my clients who are, at my phase of life as well, mid to late 40s, going into 50s, still kind of in this game, but maybe my priorities have changed. What's actually changed is what you value. It does completely shift. And so then it becomes, I have to change because I don't really care about the fancy stuff anymore. I care more about my precious moments with my kids or having trips on the beach or, experiences over materialism. And so everything about what you value actually changes. That's why assessment is so powerful in transformational work like this. So loving your life, letting it love you back, letting the universe support you. We do actually truly have an energetic support system. Call them angels, call them guides, whatever you would like, but they are truly there. So you can manifest. You're already manifesting anyway. We're magnetic energy. We're always attracting. So why not be aware of what you're calling in? Healing your life and just showing up for it. We all know adulting is no joke, right? I mean, life
yep.
just requires you to push through.
Mhm.
And if you show up for it, it's 90%. Like I tell my kids, it's 90% of the battle. It's just showing up. Sometimes I have literally, Jill, had to push myself through a front door just
Mhm.
to get through the fear of it.
Yep.
And then it's wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And actually, I think I kind of enjoyed it. And I might have even either gotten a client or a friend out of that, or a
Yep.
relationship that sparked something within me. So that is really how our life flows. It's chaotic, it's messy, it's not linear. And this is our feminine energy. And if we really just step into trusting that, it will make the process of reconnecting to joy in your life so much easier.
Beautiful. And let's remind everyone how we can reach out to you if you don't mind. Share again the website, phone number, and any other form of contact that you want them to be aware of.
Yeah. So my website to book all my private sessions and sign up for my mentorship package is higherhearthealing.co, not .com.
Hmm.
And I am on Instagram and Facebook at Higher Heart Healing. And my phone number for consultation. Of course, I love talking to new clients, new people. seeing if there's a fit. That phone number is 520-333-6237.
Perfect. And positive mindset, always something that I know is important for you, for everyone. And we should really focus a lot on that. And people might say, well, what is positive mindset? How do I get there if I'm not feeling so positive? How do you
It is,
suggest we
I'm
focus
walking
on
in that, I'm walking in that space right now. So one of the first things that I was learning from Spirit when I did have my awakening, and I do work with my own healer, and I have for 7 years now. So I had someone who was really great at guiding me through this process. But as I started to channel, one of the first things that they said was, keep your thoughts positive. And I was a very, very, very different person, a very different version of myself. I was incredibly negative and disempowering and stuck in my victimhood. And I complained and complained and complained. And what I was really doing was trying to get people to see my pain. And so I started to operate differently, and I started to try to reframe. One of the, basic concepts of psychology, it's really important, is we reframe and we get a new perspective on our situation, our circumstances, or our difficulties. And what's happened is, within the positive mindset, it actually, and I'm going to get a little sciencey here for a second, but most of the time, our brain is operating in high beta brain waves from the time we wake up till the time we go to bed. That is a high stress response. And it actually is breaking down our carbon-based, our physical bodies, and it's making us sick, and it's creating disease in our body because we're in this state, this heightened state of fear, fight or flight, predator versus prey, and we aren't designed to operate and live there in a healthy way. So that's why meditation becomes incredibly, incredibly important, because it changes our brain waves from high beta to theta, alpha, or gamma. And those different types of brain waves do incredible things. It's spontaneous healing. It increases antioxidants. It connects the subconscious to the conscious. It increases our serotonin levels, and it actually repairs our telomeres in our carbon-based bodies, which is epigenetics, very cool type of science. I call it spiritual science. And it helps us to organize. Gamma, for example, organizes and synchronizes our brain waves. And you're able to actually problem solve and slow down in your thought just by meditating. And so this positive mindset stuff is very much alchemizing. There's a biochemical process that happens when you change your brain waves and you start to think positively, positive self-talk, loving affirmations. Okay, Anna, you got this today. You're going to show up for yourself. You are such a badass. I'm so proud of you. Great job today. Just with the littlest, tiniest things in our lives. And we don't do that. We have 50 to 60,000 thoughts in our brains that kind of float around all day long. Most of them are negative. And that's why Spirit says it's really important for you guys to start to consciously try to be more positive. It will lighten the emotional load, and it will help you get through difficult situations where you can be more lighthearted and kind of almost flippant about it and just say, it's going to be okay. I'm not sure how, but I'm just going to pray. I'm going to ask for what I need. I'm going to show up for myself. And I'm just going to kind of see how this process unfolds and allow grace to kind of flow in my life. And that becomes an easier way to receive.
You mentioned telomeres. I heard about that type of testing we could actually get done. And I don't know, it goes by the length of the telomere. It's beyond my knowledge of the genetics, but it kind of tells you, not to be graphic, but like about what age you would die if nothing happens to you, right? It tells you the lifespan
it's like the breaking down of aging and the chromosomes. Yeah.
That's fascinating in a sense, but and you can get a test like that done, and then you can start working on those areas to try to improve yourself. It's amazing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about it myself. I just was taught that in one of the certification I took classes I took during the for Akashic record readings. And I was just blown away that this was something. And of course, I went and Googled it and read books on it and thought, this is incredible. Like, we actually can repair. And that's why energy healing is really the only game in town. You can coach and coach and coach, but if you can't move energy, someone who is a healer and actually moves energy, and you'll feel it if you go and you have this experience. It really defies words. It is an experience you need to have. Whether it's remote or in person, it really doesn't matter. You'll feel it in your body. That is absolutely incredible. And I think that's one of the things that fascinated me so much about Reiki and quantum healing and shamanic healing. As it was happening to me, I thought, why did I not know about this? How can I be better? And it just slowly repairs the organs. We talked about this last time, cleaning the blood, repairing bone, and it's just incredible. And the emotions are how, when we release the heavy frequencies, the vibration, that's the repairing that's done, what I call our quantum DNA, which is those telomeres. And it also, a lot of meditation, it's just scientifically proven. Meditating is the way you access the quantum field, which is our connection to source creation within. And you really get into those moments of just know and be still and be in silence. And you will have floods and, emotions come up to the surface that have to be moved out. That's why that happens to you. And this happens to everyone. It isn't like it's just a few people who are enlightened. No, this is for every single human being. So when you start to kind of this work speaks to you, just keep following it and target in on what resonates and what sticks with you and lovingly haunts you, because that's spirit telling you, go forward, keep going. This is something for you.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So we've talked a little about that, and thank you for expanding on the positive mindset. Yeah, I think it's increased the length of our telomeres. I think the length, I'm not sure exactly how it works. The shorter the telomere, something. Don't listen to us. All right. And what is the last thing you wanted to focus on, sweetheart?
Gosh, I think, what else would I like to talk about today?
Was it
I think I want to
channeling our psychic gifts? I think it was.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yes, I'm sorry, we did mention that. One thing about channeling is that it is something that we all inherently have within us as well. And it's a tool that we actually are supposed to groom and hone and expand when we're children. And this has to do with the pineal gland in our brain. But channeling can be active and it can be passive. And
did you channel something to shut my camera off a second ago? I'm like,
oh no, well that stuff happens, all that kind of wonky stuff happens to me like all the time. But no, it's just it's something where we can channel actively, where we're actually sitting down and trying to connect with the energy. And it might come out as a gift of automatic writing, direct channeling methods where you're actually speaking in a different voice or a different tongue. Or maybe you're clairaudient, like myself, where you're hearing spirit through you. It's kind of like that little inner voice. And what it feels like is you're asking questions in your brain and the answer is coming over the question before you're done asking the question inside of your head. It's very strange, but that's kind of how you feel into what channeling feels like as you start to heal yourself. These universal gifts within us, the magic within, the mysticism, that inner voice, you'll answer yourself, so to speak. And then you might even be clairvoyant, where you're seeing things and having conversations. So it's really fun. It can be a little, jarring at first, but I think it's just important to let everyone know that it is within all of us to listen to that intuition, that inspiration, that inner spirit. It's part of how we operate, and we really expand into the wholeness of who we are as light as well. So that's just a fun topic. I've always been drawn to channeling work. I do a lot of spirit channeling. One of my favorite things for my clients. And I have a lot of beautiful messages. If you want to see the style of channeling that I produce through my guides and my channel, that's all on my Instagram website and some on Facebook, mostly Instagram. And that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit today. Just how do we channel?
Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. How else can you give us some guidance to channel a little better? Like, how can we start the process if we're home today, relaxing?
So the first thing I would say is sensory deprivation is key. And you want to kind of get into a place where it's totally quiet, away from devices, away from kids, get out of your norm, and just kind of find like even a dark closet. I would do that a lot when I first started out.
Mm-hmm.
And the sensory deprivation is, just covering your eyes, getting into darkness, because for some reason there's something that's done in the brain where you'll start to hear and see things through our true sight, our third eye chakra, and you'll start to see imagery. You may even see beings. You might see some of your guides. It might be a passed on loved one. That's usually how your guides will present themselves. And you can start to ask them questions, but really slowing down, the key is to keep the questions very simple and be consistent and repeat them a few times, and just ask for what you need to know. Open-ended questions, or maybe yes, no, but just trying out like, what do I need to know today? That's a good one. And just kind of starting there, I would go and sit for 15, 20 minutes max. And I would just start to kind of build on that in my meditation. And I would you have to give permission. That's one of the universal laws. So giving permission to your guides to actually communicate with you. They can't just jump in there. So you have to say, I'd like to communicate with you. What do I need to know today? And so then you can also just let your pen kind of flow and unconsciously write. That's a beautiful way to start getting messages on paper. You'll feel kind of foggy, and then you'll go back and you'll have to reread it. And then that's one of the ways I get a lot of questions from people who want to talk with their spirit guides and who want to start channeling. And there's also some really wonderful books. I can't remember off the top of my head about channeling work that is very helpful as well. You want to kind of get into a trance-like state.
Well, thank you so much. And on this Halloween, I do think more about that stuff, right?
Yeah, I know. Like, where did that come from?
Day of the Dead tomorrow, right? So 2 days from now and all that good stuff. Well, unfortunately, Anna, we have to go. Could you share a little bit about how we can contact you, reach out to you?
Yeah. So my website, once again, is www.higherhearthealing.co. Tells all about my own personal journey and also allows people to book private sessions with me. And then my phone number is 520-333-6237.
Aw, thank you so much. Pleasure having you here. Sorry for the delay today, and I appreciate the conversation as always. I'm going to do some research on telomeres too. I want to get some of that type of testing. Why not? It could inspire you to work a little harder in certain areas: diet, nutrition, working out, something like that, right?
Well, and it's a lot easier than you think. So you make small changes in energy, you get big changes in your physical health.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. That's why you're here. You're an expert. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Have a great day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.